Hello, I'm Rebecca of the Garden Gate Flower Company.
And I'm Grace of Grace Alexander Flowers.
And we've come together to create Stuart and Alexander, Gather at the Garden Gate.
A podcast taking you behind the scenes of two gardens, what we've been up to, inside, outside, and out and about. Welcome to today's episode of Stuart Alexander.
Hi.
Stuart and Alexander.
Stuart and Alexander, yeah. Stuart Alexander, it's funny, isn't it? Do we sound like a solicitors?
Maybe we do. Or a jewellers. I think we sound like quite a nice jewellers,
Ooh,
actually.
yes, a really classy one
Yeah.
on Bond Street.
Yeah. Like quite high end, but quite
You
artisan.
definitely, though, have to
Yeah.
ring the bell to come in, though, definitely, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, how's things with you?
Very well indeed. I'm on the T-minus X amount of days before I fly. It's funny, isn't it? Because I'm a very organised person. Lists are definitely a thing. But also, I said this in the last episode, you can't really, there's things you can't plan, you can't start packing. I just will not allow myself to start packing yet.
How long have you got?
We leave early Friday morning.
For reference, everybody, we're recording this on Tuesday.
Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday midday.
And you're not packing
No.
yet.
Are you quite impressed?
Okay.
Or stressed for me?
I'm terrible, actually. Like, I'm saying it like you should have started packing. I do that thing where if I'm going anywhere, I don't pack until the morning I'm leaving. Even if I'm leaving at like 6:30 in the morning, it never occurs to me that I should have packed, put my bag in the car. Because then you just end up with it, oh, where's my toothbrush, where's my phone charger?
yeah,
I
and
might as
never
well
put-
just, I'm terrible for that.
And anything in the car the night before. Did I tell you about the fact that when we were in Australia, we loaded up the van ready to go the next day on our big travels, and somebody must have watched us loading up the van, and our van got burgled the night before we travelled.
Oh my God.
So the first thing we had to deal with the morning
my
of our big adventure was a broken window, mosquitoes filled inside the camper van, and somebody had been through all of my clothes and it was at a time when you used to carry photo albums worth of pictures, and they were just strewn all over the floor of the camper van. Honestly, it still breaks my heart to this day. But hilariously, you'll love this. Loads of my clothes got stolen, like jeans, jumpers, that sort of thing. Nothing of Andy's got nicked. I know. Andy was almost aggrieved by it. He was like, well, what was wrong with my stuff? I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah. God, quite violating, Mo. Someone like going through.
That's what it is. It does feel really violating. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Mean people, but we still had quite an adventure anyway. That's maybe for another day. Maybe we'll go over the whole travel things another day.
Well, I've sort of, my out actually is a bit reminiscent of travels actually, but we'll get onto that.
Oh.
But
Which do you want to start with?
Can we start with an outer?
Well, it links, doesn't it?
Well, it's a peak.
Somebody listened to our podcast and commented on our new Instagram handle, by the way, which I was just proving to you it isn't a bad thing to start an Instagram handle in 2024. I'm almost going to start a whole campaign on that. Please help me prove Grace wrong. It's not a bad thing to start it. Never a good time to start.
This is not a complete waste of time.
85 followers, and it's not even been a week yet. I know. Not due.
There was 44 when I looked yesterday.
There you go. It might be even more than that. I'm going to look. I'm going to get an update whilst we're on live on our podcast. But all I would just say is somebody messaged saying that the podcast they listen to on a flight to LA. Can we class ourselves international now because of that?
I think we're #global.
87 as we record this.
I tried to reply to that this morning.
Did you?
And I for some reason it wouldn't let me reply, but I will. Yes, lovely Carolyn. Love Carolyn. She's amazing. So when I went over to America, a good couple of years ago now, I got the Florist scholarship. Just drop that into conversation. And so I went to Seattle and then up to Erin's amazing flower farm, and I did her growing flowers 3 days.
Course.
3 days?
Yeah.
Course. It was amazing. But I met Carolyn.
Oh.
I did a little tour around that sort of Pacific Northwest before the tour started, and it was me and somebody called Zena, who was just adorable at Sweet Flower Company. We'll tag her. And we just did a little drive around, rented a car, and we just went and visited people. We visited Carolyn
cute.
in her amazing flower, because she's English. So I said, oh, God, you need tea bags. It was the only decent cup of tea I
Really,
had.
the whole trip.
Always.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. That it's fine. Marks and Spencer's shipped to America.
Oh, I love it. Well, just as a note to self, 87 followers. So now it's quite exciting.
Well, we should use it. I think we should put like outtakes on the Instagram and coming soon and joining our
I've
conversations.
got lots of lovely, exciting things that I'm going to be putting on there. One of which might be even a picture of you on my recording me right now. There we go. That's a lovely picture of you, Grace.
Oh God, I'm in charge of the editing, but you're in charge of the visuals. So you can put pictures of me on, even though, we can't see
No,
you.
it's perfect. My bandwidth just doesn't cope, does it, with video? I don't know why.
No, so I have to have a conversation with myself, but that's fine.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, go on then. Do your out. Is this your out, did you say?
Well, this is my out. So we're talking about Australia. That's where I, stemmed from. So when I was very young, so I was 22, and I had a gap year after I did my degree at university, and I went and did a year in Australia.
Right.
So I did 6 months as a 3-day event groom, which is one of the most grueling jobs I've ever done. And then I did 6 months as a polo groom, which was one of the most glamorous jobs I've ever done. It was still quite grueling. I got very fit, but the parties were amazing. So polo has always had a very special place in my heart. And I did look a bit when I came back to the UK. Being a psychologist took my time up, really. But we live about a quarter of a mile away from Taunton Vale Polo Club. And I'm so embarrassed. I've lived here 15 years and we've never set foot on it. Even though one of our dog walks goes around the back of it and there's a big gate, which you're not allowed to go through, unfortunately. So we walk past it quite frequently. But last weekend on Sunday afternoon, some friends drove up from Kingsbridge and we took a picnic and we went to the polo.
Oh, decadent.
And God, it was lovely. God, it was lovely.
Just can you stop having these amazing things you do? Honestly, my life is so boring. You're sitting there laughing. I just went to the polo. Did you wear tweed in the heat is all I want to know.
I didn't wear tweed because, my God, it was hot. Well, no, it wasn't hot, but it was warm enough.
But what do you wear to the polo if you're not wearing tweed? That's what I want to know.
Well, it was very low goal. So it was 0 to 2 goals. So it was very cash.
Hang on. Sorry. So what's 0 to 2 goal? What are you talking about?
In order to make sure that people aren't mismatched when they play, the teams, you add up all of their handicaps. So every polo player has a handicap that's decided by the Hurlingham Polo Association. I'm assuming, I don't know, it was different in Australia, but so you're given a number that says how good you are from -2 to 10. I think there's only about 3 10-goal players in the world. And then you add up all of your numbers, so you'll then have a total for your team. So the rich people, you can be a really bad rich person as long as your handicap's quite low, because you can then fill your team with like high goal players, but you can be the crap one, but you're paying for it also, it's fine. So lots of people if they get good, they try and hold their handicap back, because obviously sometimes they won't fit in teams if they get too good.
It's quite strategic.
So you have to keep going up to the next band, but yeah.
We also interjected about the fact that what you were wearing. Well, polo's always nice weather, so maybe I've been misled by tweed at polo. But it just shouts tweed to me.
Oh, this is quite vulnerable making, and it wasn't something I ever wanted to share, but I did. But I'm going to share it. I did
out of your comfort zone, please, Grace.
A course on somatic safety. I think it's called sovereign safety or something, and it's about sort of regulating your nervous system with Sally Hardie, who I'm a great fan of. Sally Hardie. I'll link in the show notes. She's great. And I was driving up to somewhere in London, I can't remember where I was going now, but I thought I'll just play through the videos and stuff. And one of them was this visualization. And it was a visualization of the best self. And in fact, it was me at the polo, perching in the back of my Land Rover, and I was head to toe tweed.
Love it.
Which is really interesting, because I don't think tweed is that polo, but it is interesting that you should say tweed, because I was, in my visualization of my best
tweed.
self, I was head to toe tweed at the polo with my truck.
The difference is I would like a room head to toe in tweed, like tweed curtains, tweed sofa, and definitely a tweed poof for my country magazines to sit on with.
Well, going back to the truck, it's been so hot. We've finally had a couple of days of hot, and obviously Land Rovers have these vinyl seats. And I tell you what, when it's like 29 degrees and you get in on a vinyl seat in short, oh my God, that
I've got a good solution to that. Honestly, sheepskin. Get a sheepskin rug. Have you not seen anybody that has seen me travelling around in my VW, which has leather seats, knows I sit on a sheepskin rug. Come winter, sun, everything. All weathers. It's warm in the winter, it's cool in the summer. Sit on. You will love me for this. Yeah, and you do know when Andy's used the van, because it's just tossed on the floor, because obviously it sits in the category of cushions for him. But it is absolutely 100% the best thing, sitting on a sheepskin rug. You will thank me.
Well, you might have just saved me £600 as well, because I was going to have my front seats upholstered in
No,
tweed.
go and sit on go and put a sheepskin rug on it. Honestly, if you get backache as well, it is the most comfiest thing ever to sit on. It's gorgeous.
I don't, but my husband does have a back support in whatever car he goes. So
Yeah.
he gets cross because I throw it on the floor.
Really weird, isn't it? You're just like Andy. It's weird. It's hilarious.
Anyway, so moving on from the tweed, which is obviously one of the highlights of my life is tweed. But because of the heat and the fact that it is the end of July, I went for a quite brushed cotton shirt.
Nice.
It's a with nothing underneath shirt. Have you come across them? Such a
Oh,
nice
I thought you
shirt.
had nothing on underneath. This is the name of the brand.
No, it's
Oh,
the
God.
brand is called With Nothing Underneath. Do you not get Instagram
Oh,
ads
for
them? I
goodness
get
sake, I'm going
thousands
to
of
now,
them.
but honestly, I feel such a sheltered life.
Yeah, no, we said
Yeah.
it. Vintage.
Oh, vintage,
Always
yeah.
vintage. And just some cash jeans and some lovely shoes. But I would probably go linen.
So did you enjoy it?
We had an amazing
Yeah.
time. Had a lovely time. It was so chill. It was lovely Ant and Lucy, who I think mentioned before on the podcast, but I can't think. Oh, that's because Ant has been helping us with the oak beams. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, love Ant, Man Mountain Ant. Their little daughter Olive, who's 2.5 and therefore the funnest age, because I love that age. I love most ages after about 6 weeks, but maybe 4 weeks. I quite like after 4 weeks. So it was just lovely. So it was massive picnic, big hamper, very relaxed.
Oh.
Just enough entertainment to, every so often we all had to burst into spontaneous applause, and I was just absolutely doing that again. So if you have a local club,
Go and have a bit of fun.
Just have a look at their fixtures. Yeah, it's not like I have been to High Goal Polo when everyone's got to wear, it's like ascot basically.
Heels and a hat.
Cowdray and places like that. Yeah, in fact I think I had my 30th birthday at Cowdray Gold Cup, I think. But yeah, it just
Well,
really
I
highly
take
recommend.
your tweed and I segue that to tartan, because my
Nice.
out
Yeah.
was visiting the new Tartan Fox, which is a new pub by Adam Handling, which is based at Summercourt. And it's really lovely. And we went out. So Adam Handling has the Ugly Butterfly, which is down at St Ives. Did I talk to you about this before or not? You know, when randomly you feel like you've had the same conversation already. I haven't talked to you about this, have I?
Well, as soon as you said Tartan Fox, I thought, if you shared something
I
on
did
Instagram,
share
I
it
feel
on
like I know the
Instagram.
name,
I
but
did
now
share it
I'm
on
thinking,
Instagram. Yeah, I did.
Oh. Well,
Well,
tell all.
so basically, my out, as I said to you, mine have been slightly banked because there's been so much going on that I'm doing them in order of what's happened in the last 2 weeks, or 2.5 weeks, maybe possibly 3 weeks. I'm getting a bit close to the bone now that I really should go and do something else, but yeah, hey ho. But I did want to share all these things with you, and I was really keen to share them with you. The Tartan Fox is, like I said, a new pub. I think it's only been open for literally a month or so, and really good food. So another, when you're down in Cornwall or passing through, because I know you go down and do the Beltane, a really good option, because it's all Summercourt sort of Newquay direction, but it's all literally just off the A.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just off the A30, so it's so easy.
I was just about to ask where
So it
was
is.
Yeah.
It's very easy. It's a very strange one because, as you know, I love to send you to slightly random places, don't I, with random entrances. This is, again, somewhere where you come off the main road and you appear to be going into another campsite. We just love campsites that turn into amazing restaurants. Isn't that weird? Because Dutchy
Grub was one of the most sinister experiences of my life. The food was to die for. But as a setting, it was, if anyone else has been there, you will know exactly what I mean.
So the Tartan Fox isn't that dissimilar, that you have to sort of all effort in, that you haven't gone the wrong way. But it's a very nice pub. It's changed hands a number of times, but always been quite good food-wise. But I think this is taken it to another level, really. I had the most amazing Sunday lunch there, and I love a Sunday lunch. I have to say, it's funny though, because Andy doesn't really. He's not a big fan of Sunday lunch, which is a bit annoying, really. However, their menu doesn't go all in Sunday lunch, so I had beef Wellington, so it's like a slightly posher version, I would say, of Sunday lunch. It's got that nod to it without it being full blown.
Yeah.
I don't know what the word.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that was really was really good, and it was on one of those days where we had quite a lot of rain, and it had just got nice and sunny, So we were really grateful because we ate inside, which is a little bit dark. It's a traditional old pub. So on a sunny day, there is a slight element of me that was like, I would really like to eat outside. But we were inside. But we went and had pudding and tea outside. And one of my highlights was that my tea was served with a tea cosy over it, which Adam's mother knits all of the tea cozies, which I just thought was super cute.
Someone who's as fussy about
Yes.
to get a ringing endorsement of tea, yeah, that's 5 stars.
Yeah.
TripAdvisor.
So
do you find, though, that you mentally divide pubs into winter pubs and summer
yes, I think if I wanted to be uber critical, this would sit in the autumn, winter, early spring option for me. However, saying that, I might be doing it a bit of disservice because I'm sure you probably could eat outside, but we had booked a table and they'd automatically given it to us inside. But it was light and airy. Upstairs was light and airy. I think it was just that craving of, oh my goodness, this is a nice day and we're sat inside and we would normally be eating in our garden in this situation. Do you know what I mean?
Another completely random question prompted by that. Have you ever arrived at a restaurant and they've set you down at the table and you've asked to change table?
Always.
Oh my goodness, I'm so relieved. I did it when we were in Foy. I did it, and my husband was
my whole
mortified.
family are.
He wanted to crawl onto the floor, and I was just like, "This is a terrible table. This is terrible." He said, "What's?" And I said, "No, this is the worst table."
Yeah.
And a couple moved from another table, and I said, "I'm so sorry." I was terribly polite about it, but it was properly between the kitchen and the loos, and the acoustics were dreadful. And after my husband had said "Pardon what" for the 4th time, I was like, "I'm not spending."
No.
This incredibly, it was a bit of the crescendo of the holiday that we're having this really posh meal out. And I'm like, I'm not sitting here. I feel like I don't like space behind me in pub anyway. So yeah, and I was just very politely said, can we sit there, please? And they were like, yeah, fine. But he said it was just the most unreasonable thing in the world.
No, it's
ever.
funny because actually, I think I'm really aware of it. I think if you're really into spaces, spatially aware or like the design of things.
I hadn't thought of that, but I think you're right. If you're really sensitive to layouts of things.
But I'm the same as you. I really struggle with, because actually I have to say at Paul Lainsworth when we went with Mum, I bit my tongue, but it wasn't the best seat that we were in. And I think given the amount of people in the room, the one we put us on, you could have shoved everyone slightly further down to the other ones in the window. And actually we wouldn't have been on this one that meant that where the door was open, it just felt like you had that flow of air. You know, that awful thing where the door opens and you just get this waft I don't know. Yeah, I'm really, I'm just really, I'm sure people are probably screaming going, no, I'm not like that at all. Or other people are probably, I don't know. But I struggle, like you said, to relax in that environment if it doesn't feel comfortable.
So we went to, and I think I even talked about it on the podcast, but maybe I didn't feel confident to be quite as open as I maybe would be now. But we went to the Three Horseshoes at Becca, which I'd been looking forward to for months. And they've got a bar area, an old pub area, and like an extension area. And our table was in the extension area, sort of around the back, which if you were being polite, you'd say light and airy. But I don't want my dinner arrangements at night to be light and airy. I'm of an age where I want candles and soft lighting, and just felt when you have breakfast in a bed and breakfast and everything's a bit bright and the tablecloths are a bit shiny and everything's it just felt like that. And it was just, I would absolutely go back, but I would ring and I would say, can we have a table in the old bit? And it would have been amazing. But the atmosphere was just killed by
Equally though, I've now
lighting.
stayed in 2 places in the past few years, and I say the past few years because actually one of them was a while ago, and the hotel rooms were too dark. And that's enough. And oh God, maybe this is an age thing. But I went in, they were very dark walls, dark curtains, and you either had to have the main light on really bright or the side lamps weren't bright enough to light the room. Can we just put that out there? Lighting, again, and we talked about this, we've talked about it in the podcast, how important lighting is and getting lighting right. Great if you're 25 going to a hotel room with a new boyfriend that you maybe aren't that familiar with, that you wanted our room. Me, I'd like to be able to read my book without having big light on. Do you know what I mean?
Different agenda for a hotel room. The Dirty Weekend Away is very different.
Exactly. So that anyway, before this goes down a whole different rabbit hole, what have you been getting up to in? Because your ins are great.
Well, now you can't tell, I hope, but I'm having this internal meltdown that This wasn't going to be my in, but we haven't sourced the
Oh,
lighting
no.
yet, and things are moving very quickly with floors, and joists are in, and we went to Dorset Reclamation yesterday to look at floorboards. So stuff is really happening. And then my husband did say this morning, oh, of course, you have to route the wires and stuff like that. And that's the commitment that we'll have to do quite soon. I was like, oh my
I think, do you know
gosh.
what? I think that's sometimes where the wrong move comes as well, is when it's, because when we did the kitchen, this was a little bit that happened. And I suppose if you had a real project manager, they would show you timelines of when you're going to have to make decisions by. But inevitably, what happened with us when we were doing the kitchen, it was like, I'm going to make that decision in a minute. One of them was handles, actually. And I was like, and it took me quite a few, I ordered handles from quite a few different places because, again, ordering online, you never, ever get the right feel for it until they arrive, do you? But what I got caught out with was just in my mind thinking, oh, yes, I'll do this, it's fine. And then suddenly them coming to you Monday morning and go, we need handles today because we don't have handles today. We can't put this, that and the other in. I'm like, oh, heck, I didn't know that. Okay. And then it becomes, which handles are just going to get here quicker? Which slightly, you can see how decisions get changed, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And with our kitchen, because it was so long because we had to wait for the neighbour to move out, which is the neighbour from number 3 that we've now bought. I bought the lights 2.5 years before the kitchen was done. And then we got to the end of the kitchen build and we didn't have any taps.
Oh, no.
It's really hard to get everything to just fit in. So, yes, and I'm probably worse than most at avoiding decisions that I'm not sure about and just going for the stuff that I do know and I do like, which is usually around wood and textiles. But
I do think that whole thing of actually,
yeah.
and somebody told me this, just order a whole load of things, put them on a credit card if you can, and then send back what you don't. Because I think, again, it's the sort of thing that until you have finishings in your house, making a decision just from literally stuff online and doing it and getting it exactly right, the chances are, even if you are that way inclined and you really know what you're looking for, it's still not quite right until you get it in your house. The only thing I'd say is do keep a list of what you've ordered and what you've sent back so that you can check that you've been refunded, because it was getting a little bit hairy in this area where it was just like, I'm not entirely sure I've had a refund for the item I sent back. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't really remember.
Yeah.
So,
well, hilariously,
bad for the planet though.
Because at the moment we are doing the kitchen redo that we had done about a year ago from Ridge and Furrow, which is amazing, looks incredible. We are doing the scullery, which is the kitchen on the other side of the wall, with the view to that one day they will agree to us taking the wall out of the middle. So in theory, what I should probably do is just go and find that email order receipt from 2.5 years ago and just order all the same lights again so they'll match when we take the wall out. So I may have got away with that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help with the bedroom upstairs. And bedroom lighting, like you were talking about in the hotel, bedroom lighting is very important.
Yeah, I like lamps, I have to say. I very rarely use big light. I keep thinking of Peter Kay whenever we talk about big light.
Yeah. Have you got lamps that are wired up to a switch, or do you just have to go around switching all your lamps on?
We did get that right in the cabin, only for the lamp to break. And then, of course, you need to get... They run off a different plug, don't they, when they're connected up? The plug has to be changed. I felt like I got over the finish line, the lamp broke, and I've never replaced it with a plug that when you turn the light on, the lamp turns on.
Oh, the main switch.
So that's frustrating. No is the answer to that, because we've a very old house and we've never really gone gung-ho. But when we did the lighting, the few things we did do in the kitchen, which I'm delighted we did, was I did put the main spotlights, which I don't really like spotlights, but if you've got a low ceiling like we've got, you do... I couldn't have anything hanging down in the middle because you'd literally walk into it or you'd knock into it, whatever. I put them on a dimmer. And that was the best. And I don't know, it's a simple thing, isn't it?
I didn't know you could even do dimmer
spotlights. So now we've got spotlights for the entire kitchen above you, obviously. But what's really lovely is our kitchen is dark because the back of our house is backed onto by the coachworks. So it's an old railway cottage. So it's really strange. Our house has got no back to it. It's all at the front. So we have no windows outside. So although we're south facing and it can be very bright, when the sun goes round at the end of the day, it can be quite dark, or if it's a really dark day. So actually lamps are great for a certain amount, but when you are trying to do stuff sometimes or serve up dinner and that sort of thing, I do find that just being able to put the dimmer lights on is really handy. And then we've got wall lights over the counters where the countertops. and they're on a separate
Yeah,
switch.
which I did ask you where they were from.
They devolve.
Yeah, because I did all clock those.
Yeah,
and they were nice
devolve ones.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my husband says to me, because we haven't got one as you come in on the left, which personally I made a very good reason not to have one because it wasn't over a counter. But I do see why he says, why don't we have one there? Because the way it looks, it could work. But also, they're so expensive. I'm sorry, Devolve, but they are. That I could only afford 2. 3 was going to break the bank. But I'm delighted with them.
I'm happy for Devolve to sponsor an episode of the podcast when my kitchen lighting comes round.
Devolve can give me a third one if they'd like.
Devolve could give me
I
a
know.
and I would. Yeah, they're glass-fronted kitchens, different. Anyway,
Is that the haberdashery ones? Yeah.
Yes,
the
that's what they're
haberdashery.
called. Yes, thank you. God, you've been on the website.
I have done
haven't you?
overly too much research when it comes to our kitchens, as you can imagine. I know.
That's lovely though. Yeah. We better move on to some outs because we're, tucking along and we've not been into the garden
Well,
yet.
so my out has been, I have been out this week with John Hersey doing a little film about the new bit of land.
And it's
so I thank you. I'm really pleased with it. There's also an incredible amount of stills as well, which I will go through and share. So the reason I've done this is I wanted to update my website a little bit. But I've been going since 2011, and I have had a new website since that time, but not for a number of years. And the way that websites change and the trends and the things that become popular, it's kind of exhausting to keep up with, isn't it? And if I wanted to change my website, I just don't think I could. I just don't think I have the time and the energy to do it. So I'm trying to update things to make it work better for the way that people buy or want to see what they want to see, which I think trying to show people the fact that I grow my flowers, I don't just arrange them. Showing a little bit of the background and the work that goes into it, I think was really important for me because years and years ago, there weren't many people doing it. And now there are so many people doing it. I got to get a bit better at that. So the film is now up on my website, but I still think I need to make a few changes to it, but I'm getting there slowly. So that's been fantastic. And it's just been like celebrating almost that feeling of when we had the farm again. Looking back on that, I feel really proud.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I've seen the bits you've shared on Instagram and it's so evocative and just so gloriously. I don't know how you managed to make it look so summer. Like it just felt summer in this just summer we haven't had, but it just looked beautiful. Did you just luck?
We did literally luck out with the weather. It was booked to do it 2 weeks ago and John had to change it because he needed to go to London. And then we put it in for this week. Well, actually, it was just last week. Was it Friday? It was last Friday and it was just a really good day. And the next day poured with rain, didn't it? Saturday poured with rain here. So we were just really, lucky because there's been a few times that he said about coming up and filming and I'm like, it's not ready. Because it's very rare, isn't it, that the garden, as you've said before, you go to a flower grower and either there are no flowers because they've just picked everything or they're just holding stuff back. So it's getting it to a point where you can see what it actually does look like before a big pick was quite exciting to show people.
Oh, so beautiful. That is so hard to do. So I've got someone who's been in touch just to say, can I do an interview with you for our publication? I was like, yes, absolutely, be amazing. And she's very local. So she said, I'll pop down and we'll just take some photos of you in amongst the flowers. And I was like,
yeah.
My 3-foot sweet
I
crouch. Will they look taller? I tell you what, cosmos is a cracker for that because you can stand in a very small patch of cosmos and it looks like the most flowery thing ever. But I haven't even got.
I would say the cosmos isn't looking particularly tall. The Ami was the showstopper on that video. Well, in fairness, in the tunnel looks pretty good, but from a scale point of view, it is really hard in a field to make everything look tall because I think everyone has this perception you walk down giant patches of flowers, but actually. The reality is flowers don't actually grow much higher than your knees, quite frankly, unless you have got, some taller stems in the tunnel.
Yeah.
So that was quite fun.
I think there's a running joke in my house that all successful people have a spouse with a camera.
Yeah.
Like that's the secret to cracking it in today's world, is a spouse with a camera. And I think Erin's husband, Chris, who is a lovely, lovely, lovely man, but when Erin really took off, like his contribution was to get really good at taking photos. And I think he was lying on the ground for most of them. But everyone thinks now that's what flowers look like, is you're just standing in this sea of bloom. And actually, it doesn't always look like that. but he made it look so abundant. Such a talent, actually. The team of the two of them is what's behind their success.
Huge shout out to John Hersey, and I will put the link for his website in the show notes, because not that anybody can ever work with him who's a flower grower florist, because he's got rights to me. It's so I know, well, it's so funny because he said something. He said, "Oh, somebody contacted me. It's conflict of interest, isn't it, Becca?" And I looked at him and I said, "You know, Bert."
Have you uttered the words, "It's her or me"?
No, I haven't. I haven't at all. I haven't in the slightest. I haven't. But it's funny. I think the thing is that I think that's the trouble when John and I have worked so closely together. I've obviously done a lot of brand work with him as well. It's really hard because in a way, I do wonder whether it'd be hard for him to always take the Garden Gate hat off and go and capture something else in that person's way. A lot of this has come from us working really closely together. And I talked about this actually, and this is a really good point. I talked about this years and years ago when I taught. I said, start collaborating. My biggest advice to somebody starting out, find your photographer. If you haven't got a husband or a partner that does it, find somebody that brings the same amount of joy to them as it does to you to do this project. And that's what John says to me now, is that he doesn't see coming to me as work. He sees that as almost expanding his own creativity and his portfolio. And actually, it was really interesting because he said to me, "I'm just going to bash this out, Becca, on Monday for you," because he said, "Everything else I do for brands is embargoed and I'm not allowed to use it for months until this, that and the other is launched." He works with a lot of clothing companies. And he just goes, it's really nice to do something and deliver it in the moment whilst it's fresh. And you could see how great that was for him. So go and find your person.
That took a bit of a turn. That I wasn't expecting.
Sorry.
Because I thought you were going to say, find a photographer that really your style really goes with. And then it became about creativity and enjoyment. Because, I mean, my soulmate photographer is Matt Austin.
I've worked with Matt.
His look, his aesthetic, and you've worked with him, and you were
it's very different.
You're a bit more Grace than you are Becca, because he is. The tones, the darkness, and he can come around my house and he can take 300 pictures in half a day, go home, edit them, and send them to me, and every single one is amazing. Because there is such a good fit. There's such
I think you're right. I think actually style is that thing. If you are a florist or you're a ceramicist or whatever you are, whatever your medium is, go and look for a photographer that you can see from their portfolio that would relate to you. But also don't copy. Just because that person looks great or whatever, are they really you? Do they represent you? Or go and find the you. When I worked with Matt Austin, it was actually via Crocus. So I was put with Matt Austin in that pathway. But I now really relate to him and your work. And so in a way, for me, it didn't feel nothing against Matt Austin at all. It just didn't feel like it was me. No, just the fit wasn't me. Yeah. So the moral of the story also is, if John is listening to this, is I hope John doesn't think about emigrating anytime soon or deciding to ghost me anytime soon, because I just basically can't work with anyone else.
Well, I'm just thinking, I haven't seen Matt for ages and I must call him. So my out is the seed harvest, which I hinted at as being underway last week, is now, we are fully jars, labels, everything. I'm just going to hold up so you can see. My life is full of these little things. That. Yeah. Always label both your bottle and your lid if you're using bottles. I love glass, darkened glass for all my seed storage. So I have like thousands of these everywhere. Yes. So much fun. It's the best bit. The best bit is when you've been growing something all season, and the amount of seed one plant gives always astonishes me. And then I wonder why not everybody isn't a seed merchant.
I think, like you said, you're very good. Just seeing what you've got there makes me realise this is why I'm not, though, because I do not travel around with those sort of jars. I'd be literally looking through my bag for a poo bag.
Love my jars.
Poo bag. That's what I'd be looking for, because that's about the only thing that I have that I could put the seeds in. And then I'd have to work out what they were when I got back to the house.
Oh my God, I triple label everything.
Yeah.
So actually, there is a label on the top, there's a label on the jar, and there's a piece of paper inside it with what variety of sweet. Because I tell you what, when you stock 50 different varieties of sweet pea, one sweet pea looks a lot like another. And if you spill your jar, you're in trouble.
It's hilarious.
You take the lid off and leave it
That
there.
is so funny.
Yeah, so I am really obsessive. But I'm not obsessed about anything else. I'm so chaotic in so many other ways. But I tell you what, there's just some things you don't mess around with. And mixing up my sweet peas is one of them, because can you imagine if I sent everyone Piggy Sue next year and it wasn't Piggy Sue?
No, it wouldn't be great.
Jackie Mills, I know yours isn't Piggy Sue, but you didn't get it from me. So that's where it went
Oh,
wrong.
bless.
She grew some Piggy Sue and it wasn't Piggy Sue.
Oh, no, your Piggy Sue was Piggy Sue. I've got it. It's growing at the land. It's looking very nice indeed.
Mine's really come into its own, actually. It's looking stonking. I'm
It
really
is.
pleased
They
with
are.
it.
The spring ones are starting to get going. They really are. Yeah, I'm going to be taking down the autumn ones soon. When I get back from my holes, I think they're going to be chopped.
Yeah.
They're done. They're getting to the stage where I can't even reach them. They haven't been topped out and they're all falling down. And dare I say, slightly over having to pick them now. I'm just putting it there. I moved on. I'm bored. Sorry. No, that's really...
That's so funny. I've gone slightly the other way, and it might still be the novelty of me actually having ones to pick. But on Saturday at the weekend, I sat down and I was having my back on the sweet pea wagon, having felt like I was teetering off it. Because obviously being in soil association and conversion, if I want to grow something and then sell the seed, I have to register it in advance. So it's put on a list called my trading schedule. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go all in on the sweet peas. I'm just going to go all in, and I'm going to add another 30 varieties to my trading schedule. So I did do a lot of shopping on Saturday for new varieties, just like 20 seeds of everything.
Oh, well done,
so
well done.
Roger Parsons got some cash off me. Various people got, So I have emailed my inspector to say, can I get my derogation forms in for this? And then, of course, everyone's showing pictures of their sweet peas at the moment. I'm thinking, oh, that's nice. That's nice.
I know. It's too much choice. That's the trouble. Too much choice. That's the thing.
Well, yes, but I'm going to specialise. I'm just going to have done with it. Amy is lovely and great and everything, but who needs organic Amy? Just cut some cow parsley. But the most exciting piece of news I have, which I don't know whether to share now or next time, is Christy is coming at 3:00 tomorrow to present her designs.
Oh, so hang on a minute. That's very exciting. So hang on. This podcast is going to go out on Saturday. I'm then away and we're going to record.
Oh, gosh, so
it will have happened when you... Yes. So that is going to give you a good... Oh, my God, we might have to have a double whammy of grace in her out situation, playing her out. Oh, God. Well, that would be quite good because mine will all be about my holiday, so everyone will be bored of that within seconds.
Yeah, we'll have Corfu and garden design. Yeah, well, this week is absolutely mental. She said, is there any chance I could pop down just to get small measurements and also just to share where the design is up to? And I was like, I haven't got a minute this week. And I was like, sod it, I'll just cancel some stuff. So she said, oh, next week. So no, come this week. So hopefully what I'm committing on in terms of the sweet peas is going all in on sweet peas and having enough space to put all the different beds in. So I hope she's factored that in.
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Designs.
Send her my love when you speak to her or see her.
I shall.
Yeah.
Yes, 3:00 on Wednesday. She's going to come up to I'll share some stuff and gather with members Instagram where, when she comes down and just some.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's more exciting than my wedding. First peek.
Well, listen, Grace, you better hurry on back to work. I'm going to go and find my suitcases because I've a mild concern we might not have enough, which could be like a typical drama in our household, to be honest, our Stuart household. But it's fine. I think the teenager can actually use his backpack, so it's not. We're all good. We're all good. But
you said to me that you were literally going to wear a bikini for a week and maybe a sarong. How much space do you need?
Not very
for
much,
that?
but I don't like to share a suitcase with anybody. Although I always do put some of my clothes in everybody else's just in case. So if mine goes missing, it's absolutely fine. So I will put one bikini set in each of the suitcases.
How many bikinis have you got?
Oh, loads. I swim most days, don't I? Well, I normally do. I haven't been swimming very much at all, but don't forget I am the swimmer and I do try and swim in Cornwall a lot. I'm part person, part fish.
Fair enough.
Anyway, listen, lovey, lots of love to you and we will catch up very soon, yeah? After my holes and after your Christie visit. Take care.
All right, lots of love.
Bye.